The Wiener Werkstatt started in 1903. It was started by Joseph Hoffmann and Koloman Moser. And the interesting link between the Wiener Werkstatt and Great Britain is through Charles Rennie Mackintosh and, of all things, a banker by the name of Varnsdorfer, who was quite taken with Mackintosh's work, had been to Glasgow, had seen his work, had acquired a couple of pieces, and introduced Mackintosh to Joseph Hoffmann. In fact, Mackintosh was represented in the third Vienna Secessionist exhibition that was in Vienna. And the Wiener Werkstatt was a direct offshoot of the Vienna Secession. And there were many elements that were incorporated from Mackintosh's work into Joseph Hoffmann's early, very austere sort of designs. The Wiener Werkstatt consisted of workshops that worked in various media, glass, metalwork, and ceramics. At one time, I think they had about 100 different artisans, and in some areas, some of the jobs were farmed out to those manufacturers that were better qualified to execute some of the designs. The whole effort was to imitate the British guilds, especially Ashby's Guild of Handicraft, in being able to produce works that were beautifully crafted, but to try to wrestle with the effort of making them available to a larger public, to try to get into larger productions and not mass production, but at least more widely distributed and a greater number of pieces that were made. The Wiener Werkstatt was open until 1933. In fact, there was even an American shop. It was open for, I believe, about 2 or 3 years in New York City. But unfortunately, as much as they tried to wrestle with the issue of producing quality works for a larger audience, in a way, they were so critical of the work they were producing, they really never got around to being able to produce a large enough number of works to sustain themselves. When the Wiener Werkstatt opened, their designs were quite austere, had very little, if any, ornamentation to them. But in order to address a larger audience, they began to add more elements of decoration and ornamentation. And Joseph Hoffmann and Koloman Moser did designs that were quite similar in many respects. In some cases, it's even difficult to decide which one was designed by Hoffmann and which one was designed by Moser. But each of them fed off of the influence of the other, and their designs today are now greatly appreciated and much coveted by museums in both the United States and Europe.